I express my sincere thanks to ICI Pune Center and Bangalore Center for availing me this opportunity to present before you. The quality assurance of concrete roads, as I said now, I have chosen this subject for two reasons. One is that henceforth we will be constructing concrete roads mainly for various reasons. And secondly, though we talk of quality so much, our idea of quality is incomplete. So we will begin the presentation here. So this is what is true meaning of quality in construction is. There are four aspects. One is quality in fact, second is quality in product, and quality in perception, and quality in process. So we will go one by one. What does this mean? Quality in fact means product or a service that meets the specification and truly exists. This truly exists, I am saying, because many times we heard that something exists on paper only. The quality in product, this relates to the physical product itself, that is the dimension, slope, strength, serviceability, everything. Then quality in perception. This is the perception of the end user regarding the product. Now I will explain this with the help of example of concrete road. If you see a concrete road in villages or a small town, you will find that it is made of only 6 inches thickness or even a 4-inch thickness in a village, limited width, and it is surface is very uneven. Joints are filled or non-filled, filled maybe with the bitumen or not, and texture is very, very rough. And strength may be only M20, M25. But if you go to the villagers and ask them, how do you find this road? They will answer, sir, this is one of the best work has been done ever in our village. Because initially during the monsoon season, everything used to be muddy. It was a hell of a trouble for us. Now this road serves many purposes. One thing is that it is a smooth riding for us. Secondly, in the evening time, all elders, they sit and chat together. Thirdly, we dry our grains on this surface. Then our animals also, they sit on the dry surface. So it is a multi-purpose for us. It's a wonderful. From the engineering point of view, though the product is not good, the perception of the end user is very nice. Now same road if you take in a city level, if you go to Pune, Nagpur or any big city, and you have constructed a concrete road, and you go to the owner who is residing nearby, and you ask him, sir, how do you find the road? You have constructed the road as per the standard. Thickness is good, texture is good, joints are filled, everything is nice, product is nice. But if you ask him, he will say, what nonsense, what you have constructed? It is 1 foot above my yard. How the rainwater will drain out? Have you not planned? What engineers have you do? So he will tell you so many things of the inconvenience he is put to because of the concrete road. So the perception of the end user is not good, though your product is good. So when you talk of the product and in construction, in fact, your product, your perception of the owner, and secondly the process, everything has to be good. Now if you see, during the process, when you construct the quality road, concrete road, there are two ways. One is mostly in the city there are BT roads, old BT roads, that you either widen or you replace with the concrete road. When you go for concrete road construction, initially you take one lane for the construction, you scarify the BT, and then you construct concrete road in that, and only one lane is open for the traffic. Now during this period, the residents on the one side of that road where it is construction is going on, they put to you so many troubles. First thing is the parking is lost. They have to park their car somewhere in the lane. Then there is a lot of dust, a lot of noise, because most of the material is dumped during the night time. work also may continue in the night period. So there is a lot of trouble, and there are delays. Delays for the very travel things. I will show you in photographs further. So in the process, the end user is put to trouble. So there is no quality in the process. So in the perception and the process, we lost at both the points. So the basic issues in quality, if you see, there are two things we find when it is constructed in the city by removing the BT surface. We can create a product, a good product, but we can lose on the ground of perception and process. But if it is a totally new road, suppose we are constructing outside the town, then we can have a total quality we can achieve. So we'll see one by one how it is to achieve. The factors affecting the quality, main factors I'm talking about. First is the DPR, what we call the detailed project report. Second is the quality of the construction material that we are going to use in the construction. And third is the process of construction. DPR, if you talk of the DPR, unfortunately, it is a never detail. And DPR are prepared by any experienced personnel many times, and cutthroat competition compels the consultant to minimize the field work. That is investigation, survey, borrow area investigation, all these things. And impractical time targets for DPR, that is also one of the point. Then inadequate soil almost and almost no borrow area investigation. But unfortunately, the owners are not aware of the huge time and cost overrun because of these issues. Now I will go a little out of subject and show 2 or 3 slides how we can suffer because of the inadequate soil investigation. See, this is a graph highway. If you see that if there is no investigation, your cost of construction can be as high as 100 times than the predicted, and it goes on reducing as you invest in investigation. In short, if you see the crust of this, the low values of the 1% of the investigation cost if you put 2, then construction cost may vary between 2 to 98%, and the average is 15 to 25. This is on and above the predicted cost. And meaning that if you go to the last para, 1 or 2% cost if you put in investigations, then approximately you save 25 to 50%. That is no cost and time overrun. Now if you go to the material quality, we'll focus on borrow area investigation, that is the soil murum required for the embankment, and then material required for the granular subbase, water-bound macadam, wet mixed macadam, concrete aggregate and crushed sand. We are not touching the cement and admixtures or fibers because these are manufactured in factory and they are manufactured in standard condition and generally meets the standard specification. So we will not touch it here today. Third is the stockpiles at RMC. So if you see, this is the latest case we dealt with. In one place, we had to use murum for the embankment and filling. The contractor said that he has already identified a good quarry and a lot of material is available. So we insisted on the site visit and sampling by ourselves. When we went to site, you see the photograph, the large oversized content is there. The contractor was insisting that he will separate out, but physically it is not possible. But the most of the time, you dump it out on the site at the night time, and even it is not practical to separate out so much of oversized material during the construction. So we rejected the quarry. Now this is another quarry investigation we did for a big project. This was a 340 crore project, almost 50-60 kilometers of concrete road. And this material was invested, 6 quarries were identified during the DPR stage. And then when the construction commenced, the department called us in to verify the material at quarry. So you see, out of the 6 quarries, there are only 3 quarries. The material requirement was 8 severe material, and 2, 3, and 4 number, they only satisfy this. And if you go into the detail, even the PI value of the 2 and 3 is not to the mark. So even if you approve these 3 quarries, the total quantity available is not sufficient because these quarries are not located these are located away from all the points because they are located in a specific location. So the contractor is not going to get transported to 50 kilometers. So and about this 8 and 9.5 CBR, I will explain further how this is also not possible. The second point of identification is the aggregate. This is a picture of aggregate which is vesicular basalt. This is a case happened with the National Highway 6 where we identified, the owner had identified construction company, one quarry area which was around 8 to 10 acres. So we suggested him that we should drill at least 5-6 bores and find out what is the quality of material. But the construction company was a big corporate and they said, no, you just drill 1 bore of 20 meter and give us the report. So accordingly, we drilled 1 bore, 20 meter deep. The cores records were excellent. Everything was good. And they established their plant and quarrying started. They also started the construction of the national highway. Initially, they quarried the material for the GSB. Almost 1 kilometer GSB was laid. And the quality control team of the national highway visited. And seeing this vesicular basalt, they rejected not only the material laid, but also the quarry. So the owner had to shift this quarry entire plant to new location. You can imagine the time and cost overrun. So this is very important. Then one aspect, this is a general requirement of the gradation we look for PQC. When you do the PQC, these are the standard gradation. Everybody knows this. This is just for repetition. When you in this gradation, when we use the crushed sand and with the use of fly ash, that harshness goes off. You get the cohesiveness. This is just to show how the mix appears. See the rock quality aggregates, we know that we don't want flaky, elongated, oversized, undersized, everything that everybody knows. I will insist on one part only, that is the petrography. Because materials like minerals like opal, chert, andesite, rhyolites, chalcedony, tridymite, they contain reactive silica and they lead to alkali silica reaction. So we must do the petrography analysis of the quarry samples. Then fine aggregate, now we are using mostly crushed sand, no natural sand is available. This affects the cohesiveness and workability and finish. This is main thing. This affects the strength and if optimized can increase the strength also. It shall be well graded and each particle size of the fine aggregate has its own importance. So in short we will see, this is the general aggregate size we use in fine aggregates. If you see the first two, 10 mm and 4.75 mm, this is a size which is a transition zone between the coarse aggregate and fine aggregate. This material serves the purpose of transition. These two sizes 1.18 and 600 micron, this provides the cohesiveness to the concrete mix. And the last two sizes, this prevent bleeding and provide the lubrication to the concrete mix. So each size has its own importance. But at RNC site, if you go and see, you see this contamination. You see the left-hand photograph, you see the crushed aggregate and 20 mm, and this is a natural sand and crushed aggregate. Now, if you do in laboratory, you do a lot of analysis, a lot of identification. But if you go to RNC site, you see that the JCB is lifting the material and putting it into bins and hoppers, and there are a lot of contamination. And your all analysis, all laboratory studies has no importance at all. And the stockpile should be this clean and separated. And if you see the site laboratory of any contractor, I don't know why they have apathy towards the site laboratory. The instruments are placed but never used. And the quality of the instrument is also not good. You see, these instruments are never touched. And this is the condition of curing tanks. A curing time has to be planned because you could see this beam. If you ask the fellow to test the beam of a particular week, you see it is hidden inside. He has to remove everything, even it is not immersed in the water. The water has not been changed for weeks together. So, what we have to do is the quality and process. If you see the material we have seen, now if in process we have two things. One is the personnel, another is the machinery and work methodology. All the personnel at site and in office should be trained. They must know each and every aspect of the construction and material and process at site. The training should be meaningful and practical. And for construction of any layer, the trial patch is a must. Suppose we are doing the embankment. We take a trial patch of 50 meters, ask all the personnel to remain present, right from a laborer who is going to spread, to the roller driver, to the tipper person, to the engineer, to the site person, and to the office person, everybody. And you spread the material. Generally, what is the practice? The tipper will come, unload the material, the JCB will spread it. It will not be in layer of 200 mm, 250 mm. It will be in fit 300, 400, 600 mm. And you will just roll on the top. You will never achieve the desired compaction. So in trial patch, you spread the material, sprinkle the water, give them the feel what is mean by ONC, because you are not going to measure at site. Give them the feel what ONC means and how it should be checked physically on site, and then take the passes of roller, 10 passes, 8 passes, check the density, 10 passes, check the density, 12 passes, check the density, and all passes versus density, you draw a graph and show them that at 12 passes, you get the density. So without any single thought, you ask them to give 12 passes every time, so your any layer will not fail in density. Blindly, if you do the 12 passes, it will never fail in density. So this is true for all types of roads and all types of materials. So this trial patch is very, very important to fix up the work methodology at site. Then these are the equipments. If you go to the equipment side, right from the DPR, we must take the stock of the site and the contractor locally working and what kind of equipment they have. If you specify something very fantastic and it is not available, it doesn't work. This is one of the equipment. It's a simple screed moving. This is, you see, this is moving along the length of the road. Vibrators are there. It is spreading. There is another kind where the spreading is horizontal. And you see that roller, this never reaches the end. It will stop somewhere 1 or 2 feet away from the end, and you have to make a manual finish, and you see that man with the trowel is finishing at the end. So this is the limitation of this equipment. So we must know this. Of course, this is a very slip form paver, very modern equipment, but this is not possible to use in cities where the width is very narrow. Then work methodology. At each stage of construction, work method has to be standard. Small deviations leads to various tests of cracking. It is a wrong perception that the contractor that it costs more. Now I am talking about the number of passes and the work methodology. The contractor has his own perception. The contractor will say that if I do so number of passes, I do this way, I do that way, it will cost me more. It is a wrong perception. So at various sites and during various training programs, we have proved this. I will show few of them. Before that, if you see a typical design of the widening of the BT road, existing BT road and widening, and we're doing the concrete road. This is the blue line shows that it is the existing old BT road. You are clarifying that, and they are widening by putting embankment of 10 CBR material, then placing GSB and your WBM and everything. Now, unless you do the benching, you will not get a good bond and transfer of load to the old embankment and old material. This is one thing. Second thing is that if you don't compact, that your widening will give crack because of the loss of support. This is one of the 60-kilometer patch I have visited in MP. 13,500, 5,000. This is 13,500. Well, this is wrongly written. These many panels were failed in a single road. And if you see a CBR, you take the guidelines of the IRC 37. If my subgrade CBR is 3 and I want a CBR of effective 10 at the top of embankment and my borrow area material is 10, then I should have a layer of 650 minimum. If I go for 10 CBR material and my thickness is 600, the effective CBR will be less than 10. So you have to follow these guidelines. Secondly, if you see the energy versus compaction, this is a laboratory study we have done. In first 15 blows of a standard compaction, you achieve 90% compaction. Just in 15 blows, you achieve 90% compaction. For additional 5% only, that is go to 95%, I need 30 blows. That is mean 50 additional. And to achieve that 100%, I require nearly 65 blows. So as you go further, because the particle, they come together and they offer more resistance and you require more energy. So this is what exactly happens on site. When you do the rolling, with 8 or 10 passes or 6 passes, you get a 90% and you are happy. You are happy that you have received the desired compaction and you go ahead. But what happens with the CBR? With 100% CBR in laboratory, if my compaction, 100% compaction, if my CBR is 30 almost, and with a 95% compaction, my CBR reduces to 20. And with a 90% compaction, my CBR comes down to 10. This is actual laboratory study done. So when you are looking that the borrow area material of 10 CBR and I am going to give a layer thickness of 650 mm and your compaction is not 100%, you will not get that CBR. With 90%, you will get only 3 or 4 CBR and ultimately your pavement will fail in subgrade support. Now, when you say that I will little go out of the subject, just to show whether this such type of compaction, such type of CBR and everything can be achieved on site. This is a road, a Pandhan road was taken by Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana under the R&D. Because there were so many roads they were failing in black cotton soil area. So they think that at least one road should be taken for R&D, research and development, to see what happens. So this was the road given to us by the chief engineer then to study and do everything to build a perfect road. So this was the condition of road. This was 13.6 kilometers. This was a black cotton soil. Free swell index was more than 70. Then we stabilized this, the subgrade, with 80% black cotton soil, 18% fly ash, and 2% cement. Then this free swell index came down to 40. The PI value reduced to 22. CBR improved to 13 in 7 days only. It is improved further. So we excavated the drains and used that black cotton soil for the construction of embankment. This is the fully compacted and stabilized layer, the same road. This is, you can see during the monsoon, the construction stopped, but the traffic of that all villages and small town continued on this stabilized black cotton soil. You can see the water ponded in the side drains. This is after the monsoon. You can see the tire marks. And this is the road after 3 years. We monitored this road for 3 years. There is no raveling, no tire mark, nothing. This is after 6 years. And these 6 years, I had to show it to the one of the superintending engineer who was in charge of concrete roads, and 4,000 crores budget was under him. And he did not believe on my slides. He actually visited the site to confirm that yes, road can stay. So I had to prove then that this doesn't cost so much of compaction. This is a simple case. If you take a 3.5 meter boat road, you need 2 passes to cover the entire width. For 98% passes, you generally achieve in 10 passes of the rolling, but you consider 15 passes, consider 50% excess. Then you consider 1 kilometer, then 2 passes, then there are 2 layers, means 2 lanes, and 3 type of material you are going to compact in 2 layers. In total 180 kilometers that roller will have to travel. Then for BT 1 layer, it will have to travel 30 kilometers, right? For 15 passes and 2 lanes. So 210 kilometers the roller will have to travel for total compaction of all layers standard. Now costing. These are the latest rates of the machinery as per PWD. This is 1591 rupees per hour, right? So I took 5 kilometer speed. It comes to 42 hours, but let us consider 50 hours. Then it costs you 1 lakh. Water tanker, it will cost you 40,000. So actually total cost of compaction will be only 40,000. But I have added 40% profit, 35,000. Other expenses 25,000. This is all exaggeration. Still it is not costing more than 2 lakhs. And the cost of 1 kilometer road is 80 lakhs. So it is only 1.5% that we spoil the 80 lakhs rupees road. So remember, the good compaction is the heart of road building. Then comes the dry lining concrete in concrete road. This is generally AM10 grade of concrete. It creates a firm and continuous support for the pavement grade quality concrete. It should be well compacted at ONC. This is just like any other material in embankment, murum or soil. We have to compact at ONC. Saturate the granular subbase before laying DLC. It should not bond with TQC, so we place the separation membrane. Uneven and rough DLC surface creates a restraint to PQC movement during shrinkage, that is drying shrinkage, and this leads to cracking. You see this. These are the 2 cubes showing the dry lining concrete compacted, and only difference is of moisture content. One is compacted exactly at ONC, that is 70%, and other is 2% less water, that is at 5%. You see the difference in texture. If you compact this dry lining concrete layer at 5%, it will be a rough surface, and ultimately your concrete road will crack in this fashion. Because during drying shrinkage, this DLC will offer resistance for this shrinkage, and there will be cracking across. When you go to the pavement quality concrete, that is the concrete quality, generally the RNC, it is mixed in RNC and brought to the site by transit mixer, poured at site. It poured by a transit mixer mostly in the heap. And mostly you will see, this is a general scene, you will find few laborers, they are spreading with the vibrator. Actually, vibrator is not the equipment for the spreading. This imparts the excess vibration and leads to segregation and bleeding. And then retention time of the concrete is very important. During the trials, you must ask one transit mixer from the plant to reach the site. You count the time and the count for the unloading, and you see how much exactly the time cycle you require for reaching a site and unloading it. Accordingly, you fix the time cycle for the transit mixers. Otherwise, this is the general scene all over, that you see that one transit mixer is unloading and there are 3 or 4 in the line standing and waiting for their turn. And their retention time then exceeds, and secretly the person there will have to pour some extra water to keep that mix workable, and ultimately the strength of concrete will reduce. And secondly, when this is the general experience, all of you have experienced that the riding quality of the concrete road is not as good as the bituminous roads. You will find bumping. All of them. Very few on very few roads you find the good quality. You see that the standard specifies the longitudinal profile that 5 mm in 3 stages. The unevenness should not be more than 5 mm and 4 mm in transverse direction. And if you see the frequency, it's 15 numbers of unevenness in 300 mm for national highway and state highway. But you always find that unevenness is more than 5 mm and the frequency is far more. And this is exactly what is giving the bad riding quality. And this bad riding quality is only the result of change in workability of the mix received at site. Because sometimes when it is receiving late, your workability is less, concrete mix is stiff, and when you lay, there is no ponding. After finish, that surface will remain as it is. If the workability is more, then we will find little ponds are formed, and after the evaporation, they create the unevenness. That is the main cause. So the workability of the mix delivered at site should be monitored and it should be even. Then only you will get the good riding quality. Then cracking. There are a lot many reasons for cracking, but the things which are in our hand and which we can control, we'll talk on that. See, one thing is that when you place the machine dowel bars, the non-machine bar dowel bars, they lead to crack. Non-aligned dowel bars, not coated with epoxy, inadequate length of sheathing, and thin and folded separation membrane. These are the reasons for drying shrinkage cracks. We'll see. See, these are the dowel bars, correct, machine, epoxy coated, done everything. And you see these are the dowel bars. They are not machine. This is not epoxy coat. They are not aligned. This type of dowel bar invariably will give you a drying shrinkage crack, generally 1 meter away from the joint. This is the type of crack you will observe. Cutting, the joint cutting. This is a hydration cycle of the first 72 hours. First 15 minutes we can treat as a mixing time. Then 2 to 4 hours is our placement time. Then starts the 4 or 8 hours, this is plastic shrinkage. And then after that, the differential thermal shrinkage starts. The strength development starts somewhere between. And you get a small window for socketing. If you see largely, this is the window of the time. If it is too early, it will give raveling. If it is too late, it will give cracking. So how to control this? On site, there is a simple method. The best method to decide the time, if you scratch the concrete surface by a pocket knife, as long as the scratch is removing the texture of concrete, do not cut. Once, without removing the texture or disturbing the texture, it is giving a cut, it is the time to cut. So this is with the experience, and from season to season, it will change. These are the plastic shrinkage crack because of the delayed socketing. Now the cost analysis. This is at few places. The dowel bars were not proper and the contractor was asked to replace the panel. He was asked to cut, remove and replace. Means the cracking was very severe. So we showed the cost analysis to the contractor. The cost of machining of dowel bar is 100 rupees per number. 5 meter width and 100 meter length of 3.5 meter panel center to center. We need 46,000 rupees extra to do all this thing, right? To machining and everything. Now, if 3 panels are cracked, the cost of repair is 71,000. So ultimately, you save in quality. Now, coming to the strength of pavement quality concrete, which is vital. They all standard procedures are applicable to achieve the concrete strength. Frequent verifications of RMC plant visits are necessary to validate the ingredients delivered by automation system physically. Because you have to give that command to that computer to deliver on the aggregate, and you weigh the aggregate physically. Water, admixture, everything, and you validate whether the RMC plant is actually delivering that quantity as per the design mix. Secondly, the contamination of aggregate at site and addition of water beyond the retention time is the major cause of the loss of strength of TQC. Now you see the picture. This is the contamination of aggregate. Insufficient aggregate due to segregation. There are hardly any porous aggregate in the mix. Now, when we talk of the so many constraints, so many quality and so much of regularity and controls, one may think that it is not possible to achieve the high quality of concrete over a long time, but it is not so. I will just share 3 slides. This is the quality of concrete we achieved when 2 lakh cubic meter of concreting was done for the power plant of Reliance at Butibori in 2010. We trained all the personnel, established site laboratory, all the variances, trained all people, transit mixer driver, labor, everybody, and we trained them and gave them the sense and importance of their duty. Now you see, this is a M20 grade of high volume fly ash concrete. The standard deviation is only 0.56 Newton per mm square over a month. This is M25 with 30% fly ash. Standard deviation was only 0.81. This is M35 normal concrete. Standard deviation was 0.68 Newton per mm square. This is the quality, and this quality can be achieved. Now see in the process, you see a photo of concrete road. One lane is already laid and paver blocks are to be laid. In city, you have to lay the paver blocks in the one lane because there are many utilities under this and you cannot lay concrete there. Now you see the footpath beside on the left hand side extreme. The contractor could have stored paver blocks in advance before laying PQC at that place, but he did not do it. He has laid the PQC, cured that PQC for a month, and then he will transport the paver block and then he will fix it. The time loss is more than a month. This is improper planning and nothing else. And when he is laying that paver blocks, you see the amount of dust he is putting under that. This is almost a 60 centimeter stone dust placed under the paver block. How it is going to stay? Then the utilities we tackle. This is a manhole and surprisingly in front of the municipal corporation member in front of his bungalow. Above the, I don't know what is the methodology of this. This is above, and just I don't know, I think whether everybody wants to see it or they want to show everybody that you go around this and don't cross over it. And if you see the manhole, this is one of the manholes in Singapore. This is not only exactly leveled, but it is also painted accordingly. I don't know why can't we do this. This is the quality of BT road. Quality can be achieved. Just I'm showing few photographs. Now, when we did the quality assurance for the 70-kilometer road network in Nagpur city, I will share you in short what we did. We trained all personnel of the contractor, of the municipal corporation engineer, and everybody. We made the supervision at site. Generally, the supervision at site by consultant or PMC is like politicizing. It is not like that. When you visit the site, it is again a site training. It is a guidance. It is a problem solving. It's a spot decisions you must take. Whatever they are facing, you must correct it then and there. Then it is a quality supervision. Otherwise, it is only a shouting and nothing else. Then sampling and testing. Then RNC, we visited each and every RNC plant regularly every month, verified that, draws the sampling and tested that. And we gave the all factual reports to the corporation, to the commissioner and everybody. Now, when we were working in city, this is the point of quality. That is why I'm discussing. Then interaction with the end users. I will tell you here one of my experience. There was a road we were constructing that was exactly in front of Nagpur High Court, and all the High Court judges, they during office time opening and closing, their gates open on that side. So I requested all the contractors and NS engineer to take that half a kilometer patch during the summer when there are vacations to the High Court. But 1 month High Court will close for the vacation. And then when I excavated and that do the milling of the top road, top bitumen, I find that 200 mm I can mill out, and beyond that I cannot go, because then the old section is not sufficient to take the load, or that it is insufficient to give that K value, subgrade support to the pavement quality. So I could not go below that. So if I calculate, then my concrete road was going to go 2 inch above the that existing road, and that drainage will be a typical problem. So then what I did, I took the appointment of the registrar, who is also a High Court judge, and explained him that this concrete road we are going to build, and that is going to be 2 inch above the existing road. But there is no other way, because technically we cannot go below. But we will take every precaution that the rainwater from the concrete road will not drain into the premises of the High Court. And this we are going to constructing during your vacation time. So he was very much pleased, and he said that rarely this is done. We see that everybody gets excavated and we have to shout in their name. Then secondly, when we started the concrete road in Nagpur city, there was very huge and cry. There were cracks, and there was in papers, news and photographs, and there were NGOs, they were reporting and complaining to the commissioner. Then I expressed Commissioner my wish that to call NGO and their members in the corporation, and we'll have a joint meeting. Then I made a presentation of 15 minutes to them, all the NGO and their members, and explained them what are the limitations of building a concrete road in the city, and explain them and why the problems are there, and there are no solutions to this. And then after my explanation, and I also called the media person, and after my explanation and presentation, there were hardly any questions from them, and they all agree, yes, we agree that these are the problems, and we do agree that we have to face this and go through this for a change. So this is required, this interaction is required, and this is a part of quality process. So the cracks are inevitable, and 10,000, after costing up 10,000 panels, only 267 panel crack, and these are minor cracks. These were not major cracks except 1 or 2, and this is only 2.5%, well below our standard deviation. And you see, the cracking is the main, because what happens when you take the bitumen road, there is no cracking. There can be local depression and nobody shouts. But if there is a small hair crack in the concrete road, everybody will start complaining. So you see what IRC guidelines, this I showed to them. I showed to the NGO and media person. You see what guidelines says. These guidelines, apart from suggesting various repair techniques, are also aimed to offset the impression that the repairs of concrete pavements are something impossible, and therefore the construction should be avoided. It is not like that. It is bound to crack, because over so much of great length, you cannot inspect each and every meter what is beneath, and you cannot control even the quality of embankment, and because it is spread over a length. It is not a small slab, it is not a small beam. So there are going to be some surprises below and it is bound to crack. But the cracks are repairable and major cracks are very rare. So, and secondly, we don't have to worry if it cracks because this is a photograph of airport from Illinois in USA. You can see how badly it is cracked. So it is no surprise for you. We should not take it badly. This is again from Colorado. You see how it is cracked. And when we are giving a seminar in ICI Pune Center, this is also our cracking tender. We are repairing Pune Airport. There was a tender in 2013. Yes, there were cracks and repaired, but yes, cracking is always there and it can be repaired. And this is then how to implement this all. First thing is that quality management, detailed planning, then it is a teamwork. Job responsibility has to be there. It should be defined. Then motivation. Motivation is a must. This is a job of leader and owner. And in civil engineering, we lack in training. There is no training, no motivation. Everybody goes to site and shouts at the top of his voice. It is never done. You will never get the quality. Empower workers. I have seen site supervisor not even a power of 100 rupees to spend. Suppose workers are working little late, he don't have power even to offer them a cup of tea. It should be there. Then timely corrective action. If you do all these things together, I am sure 100% that you will always get the quality. So remember, quality does not mean cost. Quality begins at the top and it is the teamwork. And mainly, if you see the Indian condition, you have to change the thought process and build the culture of your organization. Then only you can impart the quality. So I conclude here and I give sincere thanks for your patience.